Well, as you all know, we're about to enter into a very exciting time at Calvary Chapel, our very first building, our very first land. So what I thought I would do today is take you guys on a tour. Now to begin with, what we're going to do is look at different aspects of the property, different aspects of the land, let you see it from different angles so you can see the property, get a feel for the property, and enjoy the property. The first thing I thought that would be really good to do is to give you kind of like a Alcoa John Sevier view of the property. Now, when you're coming around Alcoa, the first thing you're going to see when you're around that corner where John Sevier comes in is up there on that hill. And right up there is where, God willing, eventually our building is going to be. We'll start from here, we'll move the tour around, and we'll show you the ways we're going to be getting in, the ways we're going to be getting out, and some of the other things about the property. Let's go. Okay, what are we looking at now? Well, here's what we're looking at now. Let's get the story. Remember, 43 acres. We're up on the upper end of the 43 acres. Right behind me is Topside Road, rather right in front of me is Topside Road, and that's going to be one of the entrances. We're going to have this area right here gated during the week, but in service times, we'll be opening the gate where people can come in either from the Topside Road or down on the other side. Now the main entrance is going to be down on John Sevier, so this will be used very sparingly, and especially in the first years, this will be used hardly ever because, well, as you can see, the road's not exactly developed. And we're probably not going to spend the money to develop the road right off the bat. It's probably going to be a little bit further down the road. But this road travels from Topside all the way down to the other side on John Sevier. The two will meet up in the property and branch out up to where the building is going to be. So why don't we go now to the other side and see the main entrance that really everybody's going to be using. Come on, follow me. Okay, so where are we now? We're at the main entrance of the property. This is where you would come in on Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, back and forth to the church. This would be the main way, not the Topside way. Remember, that one will just be used during certain times. This is the main entrance of the property. Now to give you a locator of where we are, well, we're right here on John Sevier. Back this way, we're heading back toward Chapman Highway and back toward the mountains. Actually going east, back that direction is west and back toward the lake. Alcoa Highway is also back that direction. So you would come off of Alcoa from either way, up John Sevier, and about right here on the property, somewhere probably 700 feet from the end of the exit down there, is where we're going to be going back and making the road go in. So we'll push in this way, go right down around and go up to that upper portion of property where, of course, the building's going to be. So it's going to be a nice mountain drive up through there. It'll be neat. Now, what else will be here? Well, they're going to make us have some merge lanes coming into here, and we'll probably have some type of big Smoky Mountain stone type sign that says Calvary Chapel with little lights on it, the whole thing, not at the first, but in the long run, just trying to give you the long-term vision. And so, again, it'll be very easily visible from both directions, very easily accessible from both directions, and again, just really going to look nice. I think it really is going to look like that you're pulling back into, well, a property, a Smoky Mountain retreat property. We'll see how it works out. Let's go look at something else. All right, so where are we now? Well, remember, we've seen the main entrance, which is the main way everybody will go in, and we've also seen the entrance up on Topside Road that's going to be used during service times. So where are we standing now? Well, now we're standing right next to Alcoa Highway, going northbound direction if you're traveling from Alcoa toward John Sevier. As you can see John Sevier in the background there and where it comes in. Now, there's a natural entrance right here. As you can see, it's been paved, and it looks like a place where we might be able to come into the property. But not so. We talked to Tennessee Department of Transportation, and they're going to remove every bit of this in an up-and-coming construction project. So in that construction project, we'll lose this ability to come in this way. Why then am I showing you this? Well, for this simple reason. When we do get together on Saturdays to come up and look at the property, or if you want to come up on your own and look at the property sometime before that, this would be the place to come. Pull in here, park, and if you follow this road around, it goes right up to a road that we've cut with some machinery to get up to the top there, and you can see the flattened area on top. That is more than likely where the buildings are going to be once we start building. So I wanted you to see this to know where it is and how to get on it. So great, we've seen that. Now let's take a trip up top and let's see what's happening with where we probably are building the building. Let's go. Now I told you there were a lot of exciting things. Remember we talked about maybe our own baptismal on the property? This is really exciting. Let's give you a first glimpse. Wow, isn't that neat? Now, if you see the little things on top there, that's probably just some mosquito larvae, but don't worry, before we actually put anyone in there, we'll net that right out of there. So that shouldn't be a problem. But isn't this great? So where are we now? Well, hopefully, holy ground. I hope you've taken your shoes off, especially this being Sunday. You've got your Sunday best on. It's a little bit muddy up here. This is probably where the building's going to be built. We'll see once we get the full land development plan together. But as you can see, there's probably somewhere between a 5 and 6 acre flat spot right here behind me that is a perfect place for us to probably end up plopping down the buildings. We'll see how that goes. Again, there'll be things scattered out around the property in different areas. Now, where are we located? Well, as you can see, it's kind of neat because we have lake views. Now, of course, we see the interstate down there, rather Alcoa Highway and John Sevier, but right back behind it, as you can see, lake views. So not exactly on the lake, but still lake views. Kind of neat, huh? I think that's exciting. And what I thought I would do is not just let you see the lake. I thought since we are doing a step of faith here, then maybe what we try to do is look at the bottom of the lake. Now I'm going to hold this rod up, and what's supposed to happen is this water's supposed to come up on both sides like this. Come up like long enough for people to travel through. Now we'll see if it works. We're going to give it a shot. So keep your eyes down there, and here we go. You'll see what kind of faith we have here. So here we go, and let's see what happens. Okay, well, it may take a minute longer. I don't know that we can keep the video that long, but if you guys just help me hold my arms up, if you guys get on either side, and then we'll let you know what happened. There we go, there we go. Well, where are we now? Well, we're actually in the heart of the property. Actually, the lowest point of the property, as far as I know, and this is where a lot of the water seems to accumulate. As you just saw, we have some natural springs here. They're called Diarman Springs, and they come right up here on the land. They bubble up from the land in this area. And so what we're hoping to do, not just to have this as maybe down the road as walking trails on either side where people can just walk and pray and get alone with the Lord, we're actually hoping at some point to expand this stream a little bit, maybe even bring in some Smoky Mountain rock, and a little further down, having it dammed up in such a way that we can actually have, well, the real baptismal, if you will. So we have fresh water coming in. The water comes off the land from up on the upper end, flows down and goes down into the lake underneath John Sevier and Alcoa. So that's how it gets there. Now this area here, well, we'll have to see how it works, but we're hoping to turn this area into Lake Calvary. Somewhere down in here, there's going to be a pond or a small little lake, maybe with some residential ducks from time to time swimming around, and an area where we can come and not only just walk and be alone with the Lord, but it's going to be aesthetically pleasing, something that's nice to see. And again, it looks like it's going to be pretty easy to do. We'll have to wait and see. Now come on over here, I'll show you. This right here, if it works out as we're thinking, will be the area where the pond would be, somewhere in this area. As we dam up these springs here, and as this builds up, we're hoping to have some type of maybe rock wall, some type of Smoky Mountain rock wall with maybe our own waterfall coming off, running down through our own Smoky Mountain stream, if that works out, into the baptismal, and then it will go out the other side of the baptismal and on down to the lake. So again, now you have a view of what this portion will look like. Kind of hard to envision it now, but you got to think, what's it going to look like when this is all done? All right, so where are we now? Well, probably in some of the most peaceful area of the entire property. A little bit grown up, yeah, but hopefully in the long run it won't look this way. Let me give you kind of where you are in relation to the building portion. We are actually on the eastern end of the property. Back on the western end back there is where we saw the big flat area where probably the buildings are going to be. But as you work down the property, as you just saw, this stream runs pretty much, this Diarman Springs runs pretty much the full length of the property. Now what we hope to do up on this end, and we'll see how that happens, and again, remember, I'm giving you a 10 to 15 year vision here, maybe 20. What we're hoping to do is have walking trails cleared out the full length of the property at some point, and then farther back up in here, maybe actually building some cabins with maybe a chapel back in here at some place where we can have men's retreats, women's retreats, youth camps, all types of events could go on. Hey, even just getaways, maybe for husbands and wife when they need a time just to get away and be alone. And so we can use it for all kinds of things. And again, it's going to be an exciting thing and a blessing to all of us. We'll see what God has in store, but I wanted you to at least see this end of the property as well. I wanted you to hear what it sounds like, and in just a minute I'll be quiet so you can hear. Yes, you can hear some traffic and things, but for being in the middle of the city, this is going to be pretty nice. Why don't we listen for just a minute and imagine, if you will, you're at Camp Calvary in one of the cabins. Let's listen. Well, we've seen all the property, we've talked about all the different aspects of the property, but I wanted you to see one last thing. Now you might be thinking, hey Mark, that sounds like a great idea to have a little waterfall, have a little Smoky Mountain stream, have a little baptism, but what would this exactly look like and how would it work? Well, let me say this, what you're about to see, it's not going to be that grand because we don't have that much water to work with. However, I wanted you to get an idea of where my heart is for what I would like to see, at least maybe in a very minuscule way on the property, what we're talking about. Waterfall leading into Smoky Mountain Stream and down into our area where there'll be a baptism. So let's take a look at it. Well, here we are back home, at least home for now. You've heard the vision, you've seen the property. Now what do we do? What's next, Mark? What do we do? Here's what we do. We pray. We don't know God's timing, but we truly believe that God is leading. God has been faithful up to this point. God is going to be faithful from this point on. But this is where we need the people of God praying and asking for God not only to make it happen, but to make it happen in His timing. So, remember, be praying for Calvary Chapel and let's watch the Lord do great things.